Hey everyone, let's give folks a couple of minutes to join in and then we'll get started. Awesome. So let's get started. Thank you so much for joining this year's Developer Summit. I am super excited to talk to you about my session today. Again, thank you so much for joining the session. We're going to be talking about enhancing customer support for online banking with Zoom SDKs. And most of what we talk today is not just for online financial institutions, but can be leveraged in any sort of regulated industry that has strong need for data privacy. So the takeaway from this session is to be able to build delightful customer support experiences in your products with using Zoom's products so that it's easy to build and easy to launch. All right. So before we get into the session, let's just take a few seconds to go through the safe harbor statement. Some of the content we'll be talking about is forward-looking, so just want to give you folks some time to go through the statement, and we'll get started. Awesome. So moving on, let me introduce myself. I'm Ekansh Arora. I'm a developer advocate engineer at Zoom. I'm working on the CPaaS product, so Video SDK, Meeting SDK, and Cobrowse. We'll be using some of those for the demo today, and let's get into the agenda. So I want to start by focusing on the key challenges for customer support that most people face. I'll discuss how the requirements for, excuse me, requirements for financial institutions can be different or can be special. What does Zoom really offer to solve these problems or ease some of these pains? I have a demo prepared, so I'll showcase that demo, and we'll look at some of the code integration on how you can integrate these products into your own applications and maybe touch upon some of the business benefits before we close out. So let me start by saying support experience is make or break. And what I mean by that is usually when you have a product, you figure out what the best possible customer journey is. And most customers follow that customer journey where everything's good, everything's great, and you have happy customers. But in that process, you have these outliers where something goes wrong or something is not something can be like confusing to customers and they need support. And uh, those customers that have run into these problems, having a good support experience makes them either not use your product because they've had a terrible experience and they're already upset, or gives them more confidence in their product that if they get stuck in the future, there'll be someone who's able to help them and assist them. So for example, if there's like a complex form and there's a process that the customer has to go through, if it's complex in nature, if it's confusing, if it's not really simple to understand, this can frustrate users and lead to drop-offs. And traditional communication over chat or phone can feel like you're describing a painting to someone who can't really see it. So there's a lot of mismatch between the customer support agent and the actual customer who's sort of going through this problem, trying to describe what they're seeing, what they're running into an issue with. Um, and it's not just me saying this. So I have some of these quotes slash data points that have been posted by industry leaders on hands-on support, how it matters now more than ever. So the first one's that customers expect fast solutions. 93% of customers expect their issues to be resolved in the first contact. So really, really high percentage. Almost everyone wants you to solve their issue in the first get-go. So you can't go through emails back and forth. That's not what customers expect. The second one's subpar customer experience hurts conversion rates. Over 70% people abandon their carts across industries because of bad customer experience. And customer loyalty, like always, remains elusive. 87% of people are likely to avoid a company after a single bad experience. So we're trying to give you tools to build better customer experience and how that eventually can lead to better conversions and satisfied customers. Talking about financial institutions and unique requirements, there's a growing need to deliver real-time personalized support for customers while ensuring sensitive information stays private. And you might be thinking that, hey, I can just screen share and get through this, right? Like, why do I need a session and what's special that you're going to talk about? Well, we're not talking about screen sharing because it's too permissive. For example, if I'm on a browser, I'm going through a website, um, the context for screen sharing isn't sandboxed. So I'm not limited to a tab or its contents when I'm sharing my screen. Let's say I'm sharing my entire screen, I can share accidentally a different screen which might have sensitive information. So in my case, on the right, or even if I'm sharing my entire screen, I might have windows or tabs open, which again can leak sensitive customer data or sensitive customer information. And even if the customer goes through the correct process of sharing the exact tab, making sure it's only sharing the window that they're on, hiding sensitive information on the fly is its own challenge. So think of it like on the fly, you're trying to detect what information is sensitive, mask it, or obfuscate it in some way so that the agent is unable to see it. Think of it like your social security number, etc., right? Well, Zoom has two products that sort of work together and make this really simple to build, and I'll show you that in a second. The first one's called Cobrowse SDK, and the second one's Video SDK, which you might have used before or heard of before. And we have a bunch of sessions about Video SDK that you'll see later in the Dev Summit as well, so be sure to check those out. Um, the Zoom Cobrowse SDK is a new technology that we have, new product that we have launched. It lets you share your web browsing experience with an organization without compromising on privacy and security. So think of it like an advanced form of screen share, but it has additional tools built on top that can make this simple to integrate and easy to use. So it has annotation tools built in for easy collaboration. The customer support agent and the customer can annotate over a web page and talk to each other on exactly where to click, what to do, what's going wrong, etc. It has data masking built in, so it's extremely easy for you to just mask a particular input field, so as to obfuscate some data that the customer might be sharing, and it's not visible by the agent. Again, like I mentioned, advanced form of screen sharing that's sandboxed to one particular website. So that's the Cobrowse SDK, and I'll talk about that a bit more in the coming slides. The Video SDK is a product that powers custom video experiences with Zoom's core technology built right into your app. So it's feature packed with audio, video, chat, virtual backgrounds, and many more features. It's cross-platform, so you can use it across web, desktop, and mobile. It also has server-side APIs and webhooks that can help you do monitoring and help you tightly integrate this with your own business logic. And on top of this, we also offer low-code UI toolkits, which make it really, really simple and easy to implement. And I'll use this for my demo and sort of show you what that code integration looks like. All right, so both Zoom, Cobrowse, and Video SDKs are embeddable tools for direct integration into your own applications. They build face-to-face interactions and shared screen experiences in your platform. Again, both of these are fully brandable and customizable while supporting data privacy and security for your customers. So let's look at a demo, and I'll ask Anna to cue the demo for me, please. I have the mockup of an online banking application open here. And let's say this is an onboarding flow to get a customer signed up to your bank app. Let's say I'm a customer and I'm filling in my details. I'm filling in my first name, last name, date of birth, fairly straightforward so far. But what if I get stuck on a particular field throughout this process? So I don't know what the ID type is, and when you say national ID, does this mean like government ID, or depending on your country, this could mean a few things. So I'm a bit confused, and I see this button to connect with an agent, so I'm at luck. I click this button, which uses the Zoom Video SDK UI toolkit, and starts a video session. Prompts me, should I enable audio? I'll disable that for now, and I can go ahead enable my video. And I also have the agent portal, which we'll go to in just a second, but I'll show you how it's the same flow here, and the agent can also unmute the video, and we have two different videos, people talking to each other. Let's say the agent is trying to help, but they're unable to sort of understand exactly what the problem is. And for this use case, the customer is like, hey, wait, I'm just going to share my screen. And they click this button, which starts a Cobrowse session using the Zoom Cobrowse SDK, where the customer is prompted with a 6-digit PIN code that they have to share with the agent to be able to start and see the screen. I'm going to split this window so that we can see both experiences side by side. The agent asks like, hey, can you share your Cobrowse code so that I can view your screen? The customer tells them 100729. They click start session, and in a second or so, they'll be able to see the Cobrowse session is started, and now the agent can view the customer's screen, and they have a few ways to collaborate on this problem together. They can both see each other's cursors and figure out what exactly they're talking about. So I can move the cursor on the customer side, and it's shown on the agent screen. Similarly, they have the ability to annotate. So I can use this pen tool to draw over some information that might be important. I can draw a rectangle to suggest which field I'm talking about, where exactly the user needs to click. I have the ability to zoom in. I can zoom in to read any like particularly small font size that might be present on the page. And then I can again use the same tools that I had before. We have the option of a vanishing pen or a standard pen, which basically lets you draw something and it'll stay on the screen throughout the session. I can use the eraser to erase it, undo, redo, standard set of tools. I can again fit this window back to its original size so I can see everything the customer is trying to explain. So far, the agent is able to see all the information. For example, the first name and last name is visible to me. So is the date of birth. But in this case, let's say this is your social security number that's being asked to enter in on the ID number field. So if I enter a string like hello world on the customer side, you'll see on the agent side it's masked and I cannot see what the customer has typed out. So maintaining data privacy for the customer. This is not information that I want to share with the agent, but I can see that something has been entered here and they're okay to move to the next step. You can mask basically all fields that you would want, or you can mask particular fields. You have configuration to set this up with like just a single line of code. And you don't have to worry about this being transported or how it's masked or how it's obfuscated. All of this is part of the standard SDK. And let's say the customer moves to the next page. You'll see on the agent side, again, the screen refreshes and they're able to continue to talk to each other and help each other out. When the customer thinks that they have all the help that they needed, they can go ahead and end the session as well. Awesome. Hopefully that was a good demo. I am just going to set up my screen to be able to see some of the messages you folks are sending in. Give me just 1 second. Move this here. I saw Natasha saying they need this feature for a tutoring setting, and that's extremely exciting that you're finding value in sort of what we're building. And if you have any questions throughout the session, please drop them in the Q&A section, and towards the end, I'll take some time to go through those. And again, thanks, Natasha, for chiming in. So going back to what we were talking about, I want to talk about a few pieces because building this by yourself is non-trivial, because there's a lot of magic behind the scenes that we're doing so that we can make it easy for you. And I think I'm most excited to share how all of this comes together in terms of what code you need. So we'll go to that after the session, but I want to share how the Cobrowse SDK sort of enables frictionless and secure user experiences No screen sharing, no plugins, no downloads. All of this can be integrated right into your app. And there's a few strong principles here that customers can get visual hands-on help without installing any software. We try to keep sessions secure with a simple pin-based access that, again, you can customize. You can have it be alphanumeric. You can have it be a fixed number of digits to make it really simple and easy to communicate and share. And then you can also customize the entire UI elements to match your own branding and design. Um, Speaking of the data masking bit, that's the piece which is most essential here. We have configurable rules that allow your organization to control exactly which data that the agent can see. Like I mentioned, you can either hide or obfuscate everything on the page, or you can select individual fields by tagging with them with a particular class name, for example, and all of those would be hidden in the SDK. So again, think of it like sensitive fields like passwords and payment info can be hidden. Or if you just are paranoid, you can just hide everything. Each Cobrowse session is unique and expires once the session ends, so you don't have to worry about those things as well. Um, and like we talked about, there are many tools that the agents have to use throughout the session. So they can start a session by simply entering the code, use the annotation tools to draw over and collaborate with the customer. You have differentiated customers for agents in the user to make it easy and exactly understand where someone's pointing or where someone is. Again, zoom in, zoom out. And then we've recently added this feature where multiple agents can join the same Cobrowse session. So if a tier 1 customer support agent is unable to help, they can escalate, get tier 2 customer support person to also help join the session and help in. And you have multiple people sort of working together in making the experience that's the best possible for the customer. So for the Cobrowse SDK, there are two pieces. There's the customer integration, which you saw on the left in the demo, and there's the agent integration, which was on your right. So on the customer side, you basically have to get your credentials from the Zoom marketplace, add that into a variable. Once you have the SDK added to your product, you can call the init method, give it a settings object. So this controls things like which tools you want to use, what data do you want to obfuscate. It's a simple object. Calling this function gives you a callback function, which either gives you a success or a failure and a failure reason. But if everything goes well, you get a success, you get a session object onto which you can you can call the start method, passing in your SDK token. And that's all you have to do. Like it's just basically like 3 lines of code and you have a Cobrowse session started on the customer end. Moving to the agent integration, again, really simple. Let's imagine you have a customer or an agent portal where you have some sort of a web page where they log into. On there, you can add in an iframe, give it permissions to be able to do these things that are there. And within that, you basically have a script tag which has your token, references your iframe, and then there's this fancy link that we have. So you set the source of the iframe to this specific link, making sure you pass in your token, and the agent is able to see the customer's screen share or Cobrowse session right into your own application. You can also open this in a separate tab and use it that way, but this is how you would integrate into your own web page if you have one. On the video SDK side, which was the piece that you saw being able to talk to each other, that's using the video SDK. With the UI toolkit, again, really trivial. You define a session container where you're going to host this UI piece for the video call. You have a script tag where you're importing the UI toolkit from our package. Again, you can access this from npm or a marketplace. You reference your container by document.get element by ID and passing in that ID. And then all you have to do is call join session on the UI toolkit import, give it that container, and then give it a settings object, so to speak, where you're passing in your JWT, your session name, and your username. Like that's all there is to it. Session names are unique. So two people with the same session name would be able to see and talk to each other. So those three pieces are powering the demo that you saw previously. talking about some of the business benefits, and then we'll get into Q&A. So again, if you have questions, please post them in the Q&A section, and I'll get to them. The first one's definitely reduced drop-off and improved conversions. So if I am running into an issue and someone's there to guide me on how to solve my problems, there's a higher likelihood of me completing that task. Zoom products support user security and privacy. So with tools like data masking, we're trying to make sure that the agent only sees the information that they're privileged to see. And with that experience, you can expect increased satisfaction and faster resolution for your customers. So that's all for me in this session. Again, thank you so much for joining. We have a bunch of sessions coming up through 3 different tracks. So be sure to stick around for those. I'm going to stop sharing and get into the Q&A bit. So let me bring up the Q&A piece. I see Srinath has a question in the chat saying, how do you build the forms from Zoom? Srinath, are you talking about the standard form that I showed in the demo? Or maybe you can clarify, because that's just a simple HTML form, nothing special about it, just input tags in the HTML, really straightforward, nothing special. The Zoom SDKs work with your standard DOM elements. There's nothing special about that form at all. Zachary says, can the Zoom Cobrowse SDK be used alongside with the Meeting SDK? And absolutely, Zoom products work well with each other. So you could have the Meeting SDK running in the page, being able to use that to talk to each other, like the customers talk to the agent. And instead of using the Meeting SDK screen share capability, you could disable it. And you could use the Cobrowse SDK in conjunction to deliver a seamless, private, secure screen sharing or Cobrowse experience. Zachary, does that answer your question? Awesome. Just gonna wait another minute or so to see if there are any other questions. If you have any questions after the event, visit our dev forum. That's the perfect place to get in touch with the team. We're always happy to help you. If you have questions now, great. If not, again, happy to answer those over on the dev forum. All righty. Looks like we don't have any more questions. Again, thank you all for joining our session today. We have a bunch of other sessions running in parallel and after this one, so be sure to check those out. And have a happy Dev Summit. I just got a question while closing, so I'll take the opportunity to answer it before we jump. If the screen sharer does want the screen viewer to interact with the screen, is it possible to do it with Cobrowse? When you say interact, we have an ability for the agent to scroll through the customer or the screen sharer's screen, given they consent to it. So we have a feature where the agent requests for permission to perform an action on their behalf. If the customer accepts it, then they can scroll through that page to navigate and annotate in places where they want to. So yes, that feature is possible. And if you have a different requirement, like please do let us know. And we're like constantly building new features and releasing those to you. Awesome. Great, Natasha. Glad I was able to answer that. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day.